Okay, guys, so this list is going absolutely viral on X right now. It is a post that was put up by this account called Dammit. It's a image. If you're listening to this on the audio version of this podcast, if you're listening to this, it's an image from Avengers Doomsday from the promotional material. Looks like it was on the stage, maybe at Comic-Con or something like that. It's got a list of all the actors in it. It's got 3 full rows of actors. It's a lot of different people. I think they said over 30 names mentioned in this list. And the problem is they're saying that this list is unbelievably white and male. It says, this person's account says, can we bring the MCU back? Because what the hell is this? Now, I'm going to share with you some of the crash outs that were going on about this post, and there are quite a lot of them. I didn't even mention, I didn't even grab all of the crash outs that I found, but there was a ton. But let's talk about it to begin with. So we're coming off of Marvel Phase 4 and 5, which were both underwhelming. 4 especially underscore just how quickly Marvel was able to fall from grace from the successes of Marvel Phases 1 through 3, especially, let's face it, especially Phase 3 with the lead up to and the completion of Endgame. And they're saying that Doomsday, which they're already going back to the well on with these old stars, is not diverse enough. And the problem is, people have been primed to disagree with this take for a long time. It started, well, I mean, it started before that, but a lot of people would cite the cringy team-up scene in Endgame where all the women come together to fight Thanos. And then you have the underperformance and flops of so many films in 4 and 5, which people just didn't agree with. Whether it was the Eternals, Shang-Chi, I actually liked, but it didn't make the money that it needed to. But it's not even flops. It's just that they underperformed compared to their massive budgets and draw no new interest from the fans. And I don't think that it's inherently a female problem or even a problem of diverse characters. I think it's the fact that Marvel, and I said this before in my previous video talking about Marvel not making it out of the top 10 list at the box office, I think it goes back to this issue where Marvel's kind of snowball rolling downhill success as it picked up steam through phases 2 and into 3 had Marvel convinced that their name could make any hero popular. It worked after a fashion with Guardians of the Galaxy, which most people had never heard of, but James Gunn's work, the soundtrack, all of it came together to make it a very popular franchise, despite the fact that a lot of people didn't really necessarily care about the characters beforehand. But what they learned is after the shine of Endgame had worn off, you can't just drop the Eternals, which normies have never heard, into a movie and make it work. You even had Angelina Jolie in that movie, and it still wasn't able to do the numbers that it needed to. And when I came out of that film, I said, look, Angelina Jolie's charisma carried that very, very bad movie on her back. It really, really did. But you had Gemma Chan in that movie, who's a great actress, but the movie was flat and boring and stupid. And then you have The Marvels, which proves that it was all about the timing, because Captain Marvel, which came out in between Avengers Infinity War and Endgame, did over $1 billion at the box office, but by the time 2023 rolled around, it made half that or more. I don't even remember. It made an obscenely low amount of money at the box office. It was a massive flop. You had the pushing of Miss Marvel, which has perhaps my favorite of the actual Marvel actors as far as personality in Iman Vellani, who's just great in, when she talks about Marvel. She seems to have a deep love and respect for the franchises and seems to be unbelievably excited about working in the MCU. But Miss Marvel did no numbers on Disney Plus, and this is when we got into the dilution of all of the content. Look, there probably won't be many people that will tell you this. I actually liked Agatha all along. I did. I don't care what anybody says. It was ridiculous. It was very clearly not made for me as an audience, but I had a lot of fun with it. But the thing is Agatha is a television character. In a lot of ways, that's one of the biggest problems they have here. Agatha is a television level character. Iman Vellani as Miss Marvel, as Kamala Khan, is also, she may not be necessarily a television character per se, but she's a team-up character. She works better, similar to, say, a Hawkeye, in a group. She doesn't really rate her own movie or her own show, and you can't fault the audience for not wanting to buy into something that you don't have the inherent ability to pull off. even when we talk about successes like Wakanda Forever, which was led by Shuri, Letitia Wright, it made way less money than the original Black Panther made because Chadwick Boseman was a star. And Black Panther as a character is a very, very popular character that most people have heard of. But then you get into something like Thunderbolts. Say what you want, Yelena is she's no Black Widow. She's just not. And say what you want, but Florence Pugh does not have the charisma or the draw that a Scarlett Johansson does. And she was kneecapped in her box office returns, obviously because they made Black Widow far too late after the character had already canonically died in the MCU, but also released day and date on Disney Plus, which makes no freaking sense. I don't care if it's COVID, whatever, give it the chance to air out there and succeed because Scarlett Johansson she is a draw at the box office. I mean, look, she didn't return the same amount of money that Chris Pratt did with her Jurassic Park movie, but she's not a net negative for any film in a lot of the ways that these things are put out. And I just wonder about that. It's like I said, Wanda and Black Widow are both characters that are golden. They could survive. I mean, obviously we're not seeing them now, but the point is they were built up prior to the release of Phase 4. Obviously, we got Wanda way before that, and even before her, we got Black Widow. So what do? You can't restart. You basically have to restart now because everything from Phases 4 and 5 was fruit of the poison tree because the public just isn't interested. I think Kathryn Hahn as Agatha Harkness is actually one of the most fun to watch characters, but it's not like I'm going to go and rewatch the series. I'm just not. The only MCU stuff I rewatch is middle phase stuff. I rewatch Winter Soldier probably once a year. That's the one film, and I'll rewatch Iron Man once in a while. But for the most part, Winter Soldier and Civil War are the ones that I rewatch, and they are working very hard to try and recapture that magic from the prior franchise or from the prior years on the franchises. Let's go through some of these comments and we'll see what they're talking about here because a lot of people were very much not happy. All right. This person says, Kent Bow says, 1 black man, 4 women, and a biracial. Lord. See, when they start counting the racial and gender demographics, it ends up like that audience doesn't show out. They don't come for the franchises. They don't. All right. Becca says, everyone is saying, I hate it when it now asks, when Grok up here freaking asks me if I want to summarize a post. I do not. Becca says, everyone is saying wait for the full cast. Full cast or not, the difference between the amount of men and the amount of women is abysmal. You cannot change the fact that inherently speaking, superhero movies are meant to appeal to men. They appeal to men as a type of power fantasy. And for women, the appeal of superheroes is not to see women as the superheroes. Obviously, I'm not speaking of all women. But in general, women want to go see Thor because they think Chris Hemsworth is hot. They want to go see Captain America because they think Chris Evans is hot. They want to see attractive alpha male character save the day, drop in their stupid Marvel, witticisms and quips, and you've got the makings of a 4-quadrant movie. But in general, it's the men that show up for the women's superhero movies too, because women don't care about superheroes and they don't care about seeing themselves on screen as a female superhero. They would care about seeing themselves on screen in something like a Colleen Hoover movie or book or something like that. Steven says, this chop-ass cast, how do you do that stupid-ass Gambit and dumbass Beast, but not Halle Berry Storm or Famke Janssen's Jean Grey? I think they asked them about it and said they never got the call. I'm assuming they can't afford Halle Berry right now. Famke Janssen they probably could have gotten if they wanted to. All right. This person says, where the fuck is Carol Danvers? I will tell you where Carol Danvers is. She's not there because nobody went to see Captain Marvel 2 or the Marvels. Nobody went to see it. Therefore, there's no appetite to bring her on screen, and the character has been divisive since her launch in 2019 in the film franchise. Obviously, before that, when it comes to the television or to the comic books. Paris says, I've been seeing this post over and over since yesterday, and it genuinely perplexes me. What was the point of introducing all those well-written female superheroes in the last two phases of the MCU, only to exclude 90% of them? I will tell you why. Because it doesn't matter how well-written they are if they don't actually sell tickets. People have to actually go and consume the material that was well-written. You know, I mean, that's up for debate whether you want to call them well-written or not. Marvel and well-written don't usually go together. But the point is, as long as there's eyeballs on screen, it doesn't matter if they're well-written or not. They will find their way to the screen. Otherwise, well-written just isn't good enough for a movie that went to production before the script was even done and is costing gazillions of dollars to make. This person, if you're listening, posted a gif of a skeleton crashing over. Only 5 women? What the F is this shit? Johnny says, need a young Avengers team full of the girlies and the gays ASAP. They won't come out for it. Okay? Want to put it on TV? Fine. They might show out for Disney Plus to see it. But it's not a movie that is going to do well in theaters. It's just not. They might, like, Agatha had better ratings. If I remember correctly, Agatha had better ratings than, say, Miss Marvel. So maybe you, and that's basically what that show was. That show was for the girls and the gays. So you want to put it on Disney Plus? Perhaps. But in an Avengers movie, it's a license to not print money. Soft says, we have over 50 plus Marvel characters in the MCU, but for some reason I only see on this post 5 women, 4 Hispanic characters, 3 black characters, and 1 Asian character out of 38 supposed characters named already. So that's 5, 9, 12, 13 out of 38. What do you want me to tell you? 13 out of 38. It's not 50%, but you know, that's what are the demographic breakdowns of that? And does everything need to be a 1-to-1 parody? All right, Grim says the movie White as Fuck to be about 2 different teams. I'm sorry, let me reread, guys, from Grim. This movie White as Fuck to be about 2 different teams that have numerous black people on them. God damn, this is horrendous. Okay. This person says it's just a symbol. Says, it's sad and pathetic to me. It's been almost 20 years of the MCU and they continue to disregard their female characters. Only 5 of 27 main characters in the next Avengers movie are women and only 3 female-led movies so far. I would wonder, you know, it's because their plans around the X-Men are muddled, but why we're not seeing Storm and why we're not seeing Storm spin-offs and stuff like that. But that's what it is. That's what they're going with. They are trying to go back to what works. That's what happens when you work in corporate art. You don't get free reign to make the most diverse or most interesting list you want for characters. You make the list that's going to make you the most money because a corporation is shelling out hundreds upon hundreds of millions of dollars to make this piece. They don't do it for diversity's sake. It doesn't matter what they told you. That's rainbow capitalism anyways. It does not matter what they told you. That's not why they do it. It was a slogan that they sold you that they think will get you to come to the theaters because people love talking about identity. The same thing happens in conservative circles. If a company, which used to say a bunch of progressive sloganeering, suddenly starts putting American flags everywhere and saying Merry Christmas rather than Happy Holidays, they're just pandering to what they think is going to sell for them right now. It's like Thanos, perfectly in balance, as all things should be. Corporations care about the mighty dollar, and they're going to go where they think the dollars are. It just so happens that at one point in the last 5 to 10 years, there was a time where they thought your ideology was going to bank them a ton of money, and it just turned out not to be true. Uncle Chunt. I'm going to get into some of the pushback. There was a couple of people that pushed back on this list as well. Uncle Chunt says, the experiment didn't work. They need Avengers to be a surefire win. So the best way to do so is to pendulum swing right back to win the fan base back. I hope we never see the MCU again. Now, if they can fix Star Wars, I don't know. I don't think that that's possible. Too far gone. Kaida says, can we continue to fail? This was in relation to the post about what the hell this is with the MCU. Can we continue to fail and lose money so I can get told that I'm a good person? Yes, being a good person does not pay the bills. They tried the MCU the MCU thing in the last two phases, and all of those movie projects flopped, with the exception of WandaVision and Black Panther 2, which made $600 million less than Black Panther 1. Funniest thing is, the male demographics supported these projects the most. Y'all should have showed up. Yes, they don't care about superheroes. In general, nobody seems to care about superheroes this year. We are now in the final months of 2025, and there is one movie, I believe, left that is a superhero movie on the top 10 list for the top 10 box office films of 2025, and it's Superman, and it's hanging on by a thread. I believe it will eventually be replaced by Avatar. If Avatar has the type of opening it could possibly have, it might not end up working out that way, because I don't know how Avatar goes. Does it count towards the 2024 box office, or does it count towards the 2025 does it count towards the 2025 box office or the 2026 box office, because it comes out so close to the end of the year? Either way, there's only one superhero movie hanging on by a thread, and it's a DC film. Superhero movies are becoming passé. They're still hanging on by live action remakes. Minecraft means video game movies, and of course, like, sequels to animated movies from a couple of years ago, so millennials can bring their kids to them. That's what we have got left at the at the box office these days if you want to succeed. Jordan Barry says, this is a perfect example of Twitter backlash. The last 3 to 4 Marvel films have been led by women and have underperformed at the box office. If women genuinely want more female superheroes, the solution is simple: show up and support them the way that they supported Barbie and Wicked. Yes, audience matters. Women want to go up and they want to show out for Barbie. They loved it, okay? If you want to talk about the girls and the gays, they're going to show up for Wicked. Theater kids are going to show up for Wicked. Know your audience. Know your audience. Give them what they want, and they will show up for the box office. For some reason, only superheroes are the one that has to be co-opted and allowed to be changed from what works, right? Nobody's asking for... I don't know. Nobody's asking for John Rambo to show up in Wicked, though I think that'd be pretty freaking awesome. Like, that's not the way it goes. Only one is supposed to be co-opted. That's just the way things are right now. We're the last 2 or 3 led by women. I guess you could say Thunderbolts. Yelena was the leader of them, and then I guess Sue Storm maybe for Fantastic Four, but I don't really count that because I think people still think of Reed Richards. Despite the articles that were written, it was an ensemble film, and I guess it's Reed Richards. But you could say Yelena for Thunderbolts, and then of course they did Captain America, which didn't make any money either because of its bloated budget. Look, Marvel is desperate right now. They need a big hit. I still don't even think it's enough. I think it's a fool's errand. I think even a $1 billion Avengers movie fails to ignite any type of excitement for the next phase of films. All they've got to look forward to after that is Spider-Man Brand New Day, because Spider-Man will always draw you money, as I say, each and every time. So they're going to have to go with what works, and they're going to have to kind of rehash all of the things that made them money before, because nothing that they've tried has turned into the type of box office success that they can hang their hat on. That's my thoughts on the matter, guys. What do you think about it? Did you see this backlash about the MCU and the return of the MCU and the demographics breakdown of the casting? It seems like an exhausting way to live, to look at movies that way. That's just my opinion on the matter. What do you think about it? Let me know down in the comments. If you don't know what our podcast is, guys, Pop Culture Crisis is live normally Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is of course noon Pacific. We have been off this week because we are in the midst of Mary is moving. We're going to a remote show. We go back live on Tuesday, December 8th or 9th, December 9th, I think, at 3 p.m. We will be pre-recording that Monday show and putting it out for you guys. Make sure all of the bugs are worked out. Make sure that everything is working. We're very excited to get back to work. Thank you for watching the video, guys. We got a bunch more stuff coming out soon. If you want to follow me, I am on Instagram and X at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. Thanks for watching, guys. Later. Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.